Alright, we're back for another week of PMP Sports. This week, we're doing all baseball content.
Woo! Baseball.
Baseball, yes.
Baseball.
As you could tell by Matt's voice, last night his team was, I don't even consider it playoffs that much, but anyways, the Yanks played last night. They lost 3-0 to the Houston Astros. First question, I'm just going to be asking Matt a bunch of questions and just letting him get all the anger out. First thing we understand about the Yanks that really started with this wild card game was CC checking himself into rehab for alcohol. Do you think that had any effect on the team going into that game?
Honestly, I don't think so. I think they were behind him. I think they were playing for him. I think that it's just the way the offense has been the last few weeks. You know, they had that hot stretch after the All-Star break. You know, when them and the Blue Jays are both going at it, scoring a lot of runs. And
the Blue Jays even hotter.
Yeah, and kind of since then, you know, the offense dropped off. You know, Tex got hurt, who was an MVP candidate in my eyes.
Me too.
Greg Bird played well, but the rest of the offense fell off. Gardner stopped hitting. Ellsbury never got it together. A-Rod, I don't know if it's fatigue. You know, I'm not sure. But the rest of the offense really hasn't done anything in weeks. So, you know, that was kind of the big if going to the game because you weren't really worried about Tanaka. Tanaka pitched fine. You know, we only had 3 hits, so you can't win a game with 3 hits. So, you know, it's kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah, and we talked about that early in the year when we were just discussing just the Yankees and their possibilities of performing well in the playoffs, and I thought that the offense couldn't carry it through for a whole season, and for the most part they did. They just hit a wall at one point, and I think it has to do with Tex. It's a big part of it. I mean, Greg Bird, I know most of his home runs that he hit this year, he took the lead?
Yeah, a lot of them. A lot of them
put him in front.
Yep.
But in the end, they just didn't have enough in the tank. And what was the decision for sitting Ellsbury? What did you think of that?
Girardi was strictly playing the numbers there. He was Chris Young sitting 327 against Keuchel. But I don't understand. I mean, you're paying Ellsbury all this money, whether he's performing or not. You know that he's still probably the most talented player on the field. You still have to put him out on the field. I understand him playing the matchups, like playing Ref Snyder. I completely agree with that. With Stephen Drew's dizziness, whatever, and Ackley the lefty. So I get that. But I think if you were to sit one of the 2 lefty outfielders, I think it should have been Gardner, because I think Gardner's been even worse than Ellsbury's been. And it showed Gardner didn't hit last night. Ellsbury pinch hit, popped up to short. You know, so there was really no, you know. It was a lose-lose situation, no matter who you put out there. You know, no one produced, so.
I think that that Joe is just trying too hard. I don't understand the whole sitting Ellsbury thing because he doesn't do well, lefties, whatever, Keuchel.
It's the playoffs.
Not only it's the playoffs.
You put your best offensive team out there in the playoffs. I can understand if it's the middle of the year. When Tanaka pitches, you always saw John Ryan Murphy playing. You know, you saw a couple guys off the bench playing because it was Tanaka. You know that more likely than not he's going to give you a decent start. You might not need as many runs, but you can't score no runs in the play. I mean, it's absolutely inexcusable. It's absolutely inexcusable.
And the fact that no one on the Yanks hit against Keuchel all year long, anyways, it's not like, oh, you know, typically it's just Ellsbury. It's the whole team doesn't do well against him.
Yep.
And I don't know, I'm not a Yankees fan, but down the stretch, to me, I'm not saying they were arrogant, it just didn't feel like they had the sense of urgency that they realized that they're not in the playoffs anymore. It's a one-game playoff to just get into the playoffs. It's a Bucky Dent game, you know, where they needed a Bucky Dent yesterday, and no one showed up. The pitching did fine. That's the thing you would probably be most worried about if I told you a couple months ago, hey, if the Yankees are in a one-game playoff in the wild card, what are you most worried about? You're not worried about the offense scoring a run. You're worried about the pitching.
Right, pitching-wise, you think they were... Though in my eyes, I thought it was the other way around. I thought that we struggled too much offensively. I agree. I felt that the pitching would at least, you know, and it didn't hold up its own. It's just, like I said, the problem was just the offense, and, you know, nobody even got to third base. They got Chris Young to second in the first. That was it.
That's what happens.
It's just inexcusable. It's just inexcusable. Keuchel's pitching on 3 days rest. He's topping out at 89. Yeah, he's got the nice hook and the change, whatever, but
his ERA on the road's 3.77. Yeah. Even if he pitched well in Yankee Stadium one time they went, it doesn't.
Right.
It's crazy.
I hadn't seen the sense of urgency other than from people like A-Rod. Saw it from A-Rod wanting to win and everything else because he hasn't been here. But everyone else, I didn't feel it. Didn't have that, the atmosphere the Pirates give and the Cubs and stuff like that. Getting to the playoffs. And everyone wants to win. I didn't see it from the team, other than, like I said, a few people. But
yeah. Okay. Now I have this question: does this team perform like this if George Steinbrenner's still alive?
That's a great question.
I don't know. I think if they would even dare. I think everybody would be fired today.
Yeah,
I think Joe would be gone.
Yeah, I think that if they did play this way, there'd be a lot of moves made, and I think Girardi could be one of them. But I think that it wouldn't even have gone to this. I think they would have played better in the first place. Mm-hmm. I think they would have won way more games down the stretch than they did. I think that the outcome would have just been complete. I mean, obviously it's irrelevant because he's gone, but I just think that because if you look back to older Yankees,
it's a big deal.
Exactly. Right.
It's what made them so great for all those years. They did have that absence in the 80s and early 90s, but what you really remember about the Yankees under George Steinbrenner was just, if you don't want to win, get the hell out of here.
Right.
And if you don't do it by my standards, you can also get the heck out of here. So, in your eyes for next year, what should they look to add to the team? What should they really focus on?
They really need to focus on another big name starter. That's first off, because
I agree.
CC says he'll come back, and I'm confident he will. On a side note, I'm glad that he did what he had to do. Mm-hmm. I'm happy for him. I respect that, and clearly, if he's taking time out of the playoffs, CC's a winner. So clearly, if he's taking time out of the playoffs, that means it really wasn't serious. So hopefully he can come back. Severino's gonna have a permanent spot in the rotation again. You still got Tanaka. So maybe if they add another arm, it doesn't necessarily need to be David Price, but if that's the route you want to go, it's gonna be a bidding war. But we're always prepared for that.
I've always said Jordan Zimmerman.
Jordan Zimmerman would be a good fit.
Or Greinke.
I think it really needs to be a lefty. Personally, I think we need that lefty starter.
Everyone's saying Price to Chicago, and that makes a lot of sense.
I don't count that out.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, I don't count that out at all.
That in there.
Yeah.
They got the money to spend. They need another pitcher. They have.
And I think
that makes a lot of sense.
We don't know the A-Rod situation or Tex situation. Greg Bird presumably is going to be playing first base. So whether Tex is DHing or A-Rod's gone or A-Rod's DHing, we don't know. But you're still going to need another bat. On top of that, where you're going to put him, who's going to be, I don't know what Beltran has left. So I think there's still a lot of questions. Maybe need to upgrade at second base, unless you want to stick with Refsnyder.
I think Murphy's going to go there. I wouldn't surprise me.
It's definitely an upgrade, from Steven Drew's
hitting. Defensively, probably not.
No, but that's probably the position you need defense at the least. You don't need to worry about the defense at second so much. So
you think they make a run for Justin Upton?
I really think it's going to depend on Beltran's health, and if he's can play another full season, because obviously Gardner and Ellsbury have those spots locked up. Mm-hmm. Aaron Judge though is more than likely going to make the team in the spring. I mean, he only played in Double-A this year. He only hit 255, but he hit for power. He's the number 3 prospect across baseball. So I think there's a lot of questions. I think Upton's definitely a possibility. Probably depending what Beltran's doing and where Judge is, progressing.
If they went young at first base, they got to go young in the outfield. Right. Young at pitching, I don't see why they would just change it up. Okay, well, I want to talk about the Astros a little bit because, give them credit, they won the game. I personally think they have no chance against Kansas City.
I think they win maybe one game. Maybe the game Keuchel throws.
But I don't even think that.
I don't think they're going to get swept.
Keuchel pitched on 3 games rest?
3 days rest, yeah, but he'll be able to throw game 3, I think.
Yeah, so who else have they got? Casimir's looked terrible.
Yep.
Colin McHugh
probably gives them their best shot to win other than Keuchel. But he'll be thrown on the road. So I don't really know his numbers on the road.
I just don't see how
Kansas City
will lose that series.
Well, they're definitely not going to lose at home. They have way too much fan support. It's kind of they're kind of like Pittsburgh over there. That place gets nuts. So I don't see them winning. The Astros winning on the road. Maybe they take a game at home, but I think Kansas City moves on from that.
But I think Kansas City has a lot to prove after what happened last year. Not a lot to prove, but
their expectations are to get back.
Yes.
Ned Yost has said multiple times that he doesn't know why people counted them out because their expectations are to get back.
Hey, honestly, that's what happens. That's what happened with the team they lost to last year.
Yeah.
Nobody, I was thinking about it.
Giants are in playoffs.
Giants have won 3 titles in 5 years, and every year they won it, no one expected them to win it. So that could be something for the Royals. I don't
How
see.
many times in those 5 years have they made the playoffs?
Oh, yeah, three.
Each
Which will be next year they'll win the World Series.
Exactly.
I don't see the Rangers beating the Blue Jays. So and then if it ends up
maybe
being,
if they had Darvish, yeah.
maybe if they had Darvish, yeah. But
That's a really good 1-2-3.
oh, absolutely.
I really
That's
like
great. Yeah. And then if it ends up being Toronto and Kansas City, I don't see Kansas City beating Toronto then. So that game will go the full 7.
That's the one I want to see the most.
I think it can go the full 7.
Yeah.
And I think the home team takes it.
I mean,
Which
Kansas
would be
City's
Toronto.
starting pitching isn't that
Okay,
great.
so
They don't have
actually.
Holland. I think it's an even matchup.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yep.
So, tough ending to the season for Yanks. I personally think they're going to win a title within the next 5 years.
Well, they're gonna have the money to go out and get the guys that are gonna help them do so.
Yeah, but no, it's not just like, okay, when I mean that, I mean...
No, but I'm like, they're gonna need to. You have A-Rod's 40. Tex is getting up there. You have Beltran's old. CeCe's getting up there. They're not necessarily spring chickens either. So they're gonna have to go out and spend money.
Yeah, but they've replaced Giambi before. They've replaced...
Well, this is true.
They've replaced...
They've had more success without spending all the money.
Martinez, all these guys. That's what a winning culture is. They replace guys. They reload. They don't rebuild.
Right.
I think that when I say that, I mean their World Series team that the next time they win it is going to be more like the late 90s where it's about a young core instead of 2009 where it's more of guys that bought.
Right.
Yes. So that's all we have to say about the Yanks. Sorry about that. 1 game off on the prediction too. That was so close.
I know. 88 and 74 was the prediction. It's close.
Still a great one. Give you props for that. Okay, PMP Sports. We'll be back with predictions for the Metsies, and then moving on to the AL and NL playoff picture as a whole. All right, PMP Sports.